Comedy did it, everybody. It did it. Whatever it was that it was doing, it did it, and now it has done the thing that it was doing. And here we are today. After comedy had done the thing, it is done as it has been written. We no longer need it. It is now in rest. It is in a restful period. We hope to one day see you again, comedy. But for now, you've done what you need to do, and so you're gone. And now it is just us. We don't need it anymore. We're good. This is what we're talking about this week on the Showseph. As always, I am your hostess with the mostest, Joseph. Now, a lot of people have been saying, is comedy dead? Is it peaked? Has it gone too far? Is it too edgy? Is it too woke? Is it hit the mainstream? Is it too out there now? I don't know, but we're going to get into all of that. Very excited. This is something we've been talking about for a while now. Comedy itself, it was a lot of people like to point to COVID as being a one of the catalysts for what is, the great comedy boom of the early 2020s. Everybody, as soon as the lockdowns were over, everybody was back doing the open mics, on the road, theaters, shows, comedy clubs, comedy podcasts. Everybody has a comedy podcast. There's so many comedy podcasts out there. There's so many of them. And by the way, this isn't a comedy podcast, okay? This is an internet talk show. I'm wearing a jacket. I'm in front of a window. This is an internet talk show. This is not a comedy podcast. If you like comedy podcasts, you can watch the BOIZ podcast, but that's a different thing. This is the Showseph. This is a talk show. And now the comedy podcasts have hit such an extreme that people are turning on the very thing that brought them joy during their time during lockdown. The people who they would listen to and bring them joy during their day and make them feel like they're hanging out with their friends, make them feel some connection when they had no one else, and they're starting to turn on them. This is made evident to me recently when I was watching an episode of Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Matt and Shane Gillis, the co-host, the co-creator of the podcast, has been appearing on less and less episodes due to his touring schedule. He's the biggest comedian in the world right now. He is a TV show. He's making specials. He's in movies. He has a very demanding schedule. He has less time to do this podcast, which leaves his co-host Matt to be interviewing people that he finds interesting, like scientists, tech guys, and porn masturbation addicts, which is a subject of interview of last week's episode. He had a guy on who invented an app that's supposed to help you to stop masturbating. Many of the commenters were very upset with this divorce of their heroes, Matt and Shane, and leaving Matt to his own devices of interviewing this guy who talks about masturbation and his struggles with masturbation. This isn't something that they feel Matt needs to continually bring up on the podcast. They just want Shane to return to the podcast so he can call Matt gay and make fun of him for speaking of these brain scientific things. A lot of commenters feeling as though the show had peaked and it is now on the downturn. Thankfully for all those fans, Matt and Shane returned to do an episode together later on in the week, so it was no longer a solo Matt podcast interviewing masturbation experts. It made them happy, but who knows for how long that will be the case. As Shane, his career is growing, Matt's career is also growing. Who knows how, they're making a ton of money off of this podcast, but how long is that money going to make sense to continue to make when they'll probably have more higher paying opportunities in the future? I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if within the near future this podcast were to end, or at least drop off the amount of releases that they're having. I think already they have been less frequent with their uploads, and that's starting to, I think, as their stars rise, this sort of format doesn't really make sense for them anymore. They might venture into other areas. Maybe they might venture into other paths. I mean, Shaney's in a new movie coming out, like a big Hollywood movie. He has a Netflix deal where he's going to make movies with Netflix. He's often leaving to go shoot tires. And Matt, he is starting to perform in theaters. He's touring constantly. it's only a matter of time before he starts getting bigger opportunities as well. And I'm not saying that their show is going to end. I have no inside insight. I've spoken to Matt before, but I have no connection to them outside of just being a fan and the one time I met Matt. And so I would have no idea what is going on behind the scenes with their show. I'm sure it's a cash cow for them right now, but who knows how long that's going to be the case. And that got me thinking about comedy podcasts overall, like the broad spectrum. There's this weird ecosystem of the comedy podcast. There's so many comedians, and now so many of them have podcasts, and now they're starting to branch out and have multiple podcasts. So many of them, Bert Kreischer has his podcast, but then he has his podcast with Tom Segura, but then he has a cooking show podcast, and he's also touring, and he has a Netflix show. So he has such a wide variety of content that he's creating. And he's not the only one. There's so many others that have multiple hands in multiple pies, and it's starting to get the ecosystem has become even deeper, where now there's podcast reaction channels. There's guys who break down the relationships and they psychoanalyze the podcast drama. They break it down, who's interviewing who. This guy Joe Rogan is doing this wrong and people don't like that. And Tom Segura, he's getting divorced, and he hasn't addressed it yet, and people are concerned that he hasn't addressed it on his podcast yet. So now I get like 5 videos a day in my YouTube algorithm that's telling me the drama of the Tom Segura divorce. I don't care about Tom Segura's divorce. I don't watch Tom Segura's podcast, but this is how it's become. And now is even deeper because now there's reaction channels to the podcast reaction channels. So people are reacting to the reactions of the podcast. That would be like if TMZ is following a celebrity around and then somebody started following the TMZ around while they're following the celebrities. There's just too much interaction with ladders and upward momentum and people making money off of this. This is weird. And the guy I follow on Instagram, he posted recently, he's like the same amount of followers as me. He said he's going to start a podcast reaction channel. Like, this is what the route is no longer, open micer to podcaster. It's now open micer to podcast reaction. And eventually it's like there's this whole system is so convoluted. It's like it's going to pop if that's I'm using the terms, financial terms or whatever. It's a bubble. The podcasting comedy scene is a bubble. It's going to pop. It's just like with any show or media. Shows end eventually. There's no way Tom Segura podcast is going to last forever. He's the star of the show, and he's producing it independently. So you think, he's an independent producer. He can produce his thing as long as he wants to make it. But how long is he going to want to make it? And how long is it going to make sense for him to continue making it? If you look at something like Opie and Anthony, that was the biggest comedy show, like at a time where it was really the only like big mainstream comedy show, and that came to an end. And then now they've splintered off. Anthony Cumia kind of does his own Gavin McInnes thing. They have their own fans, and you don't really see them interacting much with like the comedy sphere anymore. But even the thing that's so interesting about this to me is, if you look at the late night shows, they always end or they have a replacement. But with podcasts, where it's the creators independently creating and running the podcast, they determine when the end is going to be. And then it's only a matter of time for a lot of these guys, because they've all hit the mainstream. Their independent creations have hit mainstream. You can see with Tony Hinchcliffe, he is the Kill Tony show. He always brags about how it's like the #1 independent live comedy podcast, but now it's on Netflix. And so it's moving upwards to become the mainstream, to be a mainstream part of the media. He has now opportunities to go on these big Netflix roasts, be a part of the mainstream media. And what I'm expecting to see in the near future is a lot of these shows probably coming to an end and the creators pivoting into some other realm of creativity. Because ultimately that was the goal for a lot of these guys, is they always say, they didn't have opportunity in Hollywood, so they made their own. But now there's not really a Hollywood, and most of these guys have already surpassed whatever they thought they would make in Hollywood. So now they really are the Hollywood. And why would you keep doing these lower budget independent comedy podcasts when they could probably get the money and get the resources to move on to do the next thing? Like I said, you see this with Tony. You see this with Tom Segura. He has Netflix shows. He's in movies. Same thing with Bert Kreischer. Same thing with, all these guys. Even something like Come Town. It was like the #1 Patreon podcast. Came to an end. They all kind of do their own thing now. Stav runs his own podcast. Adam runs a talk show similar to our talk show, because this is a talk show. And those eventually will come to an end as well. I think all things need to come to an end. I'm not saying I want any of these things to come to an end, or these things are going to come to an end. I don't have that type of insight or that type of connection to these people. But what I'm expecting to see is a lot of these shows either ending or at least reduction in production in the near future, because it's just like there's so much of it. People are starting to turn on a lot of these guys. People feel like they're less relatable. People feel like they're less interesting. There's so many of them out there. How do you know which ones to listen to that are quality? So, yeah, I mean, it's going to get to the point where this bubble is going to pop. And what am I going to do about it? Probably nothing. I don't know. I don't really listen to a lot of these shows anymore. I listen to Matt and Shane's sometimes, but even that one, it's kind of a hit or miss. I listened to some of the porn episode, but, I think like most of the commenters, I wasn't really too engaged in that one. I listened to their president episodes. I re-listened to that one a lot. This is a really good series of episodes, but, that came out, 4 or 5 years ago. You listen to an episode from years ago more than you're listening to new episodes, I haven't done any analysis of this. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sure people in the comments are going to get mad at me and say that I'm wrong and I'm speaking in circles and I'm speaking about nothing, and that's fine. I'm used to that. But this is just, I think what we should all do, take a little break from comedy. Let the comedy die down. Stop watching the reactions. Stop watching Bert Kreischer. I think that if you stop with watching the Bert Kreischer and then stop with watching the reactions and then stop with watching the reactions to the reactions, then everything will kind of hit equilibrium, and then what's good, you'll remember in your mind what's good and what you liked about stuff, and then revisit it and then kind of feel the piece again, because there's just too much conflict going on right now in the comedy podcast world. All these new beefs, all these new people, they're taking shots, they're doing roasts at each other, but like mean roasts and like actual roasts, like shots at people that aren't just jokey roasts. This is why I'm saying I think we all just got to take a step back, let the things that are good, just let them be good, let the things that are bad die off, and then in like a year from now, once we all regroup and figure out what comedy is again, then we can start from scratch from where we were in 2020 and hopefully let comedy rise back to like not where like it is now, but like a healthy medium. I remember when I used to tell people I was into comedy, they would say like the same 3 people. Oh, do you know Bill Burr? Do you know Dave Chappelle? But now if you tell someone you're into comedy, it's like there's a 1 in a million chance of like who you're going to hear like a name from. And that's a good thing, because more people have difference of opinions, people have different taste, so people are going to gravitate towards different comedians. But I do think that people as a collective need to have some consistency and some central ground figure that people like overall 100% think this person is good. It's not like, people don't like Shane Gillis, people don't like Kill Tony, or people don't like the Gianmarco Cerisi, and it's like you're half and half. It's split in half. This is what I'm trying to say. It's split in half. There's no one person that everybody consistently is a fan of. We need to get a couple more of those in there, and then let the people who have their half and half kind of die down, and then let the join unity, all that. Let people be friends. I don't know. Was this a good episode? Maybe. I think I had a point, and I'm sure some of you are getting it. And if you're not, that's fine too. Thanks for watching this one. This is a weird one because my computer broke, and I had notes. I promise I had notes. Some people complain I don't use notes. I had notes. They were on my computer. It broke, so now I'm using an iPhone to film this, and I'm just going to upload this directly from my phone, so that way, because I can't edit it. My editing software is on my broken computer. So this is why this episode is like this. I hope that you found something from this. I will see you next week. Big peace.